Hello and welcome. Over the next several chapters, we will be embarking on an educational journey to explore the concept of dual citizenship, and more specifically, the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. This is designed for individuals in the United States who are curious about expanding their global footprint, enhancing their travel freedoms, and diversifying their personal and financial interests. We aim to provide a comprehensive overview of what the Vanuatu program entails, from its potential benefits and the process of applying, to the financial considerations and the lifestyle that awaits in this unique Pacific Island nation. Before we delve into the heart of our discussion, it is imperative to set a clear foundation for the information we will be sharing.
Disclaimer: the information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.
Let's begin our exploration. So, why are we talking about Vanuatu? For many Americans, the idea of obtaining a second citizenship may seem like a concept reserved for the ultra-wealthy or international spies in blockbuster movies. However, in our increasingly interconnected world, the landscape of global citizenship is changing. A second passport is no longer just a travel document. For many, it represents a strategic tool for international mobility, a hedge against political and economic uncertainty, and a gateway to new opportunities for business, education, and lifestyle. Among the various countries that offer citizenship by investment, or CBI programs, Vanuatu has emerged as a particularly compelling option for a number of reasons, which we will explore in detail throughout this series. Vanuatu, officially the Republic of Vanuatu, is an island nation located in the South Pacific Ocean. It's a place of stunning natural beauty, with volcanic landscapes, lush rainforests, and pristine coral reefs. But beyond its idyllic scenery, Vanuatu has also carved out a niche for itself in the world of investment migration. Its CBI program is one of the fastest in the world, offering a streamlined and efficient route to citizenship for qualified individuals and their families. For a U.S. citizen, the concept of holding a second passport from a country like Vanuatu might raise some initial questions. Does the United States permit dual citizenship? The answer is yes. U.S. law does not prevent its citizens from acquiring or holding citizenship in another country. We will dedicate a later chapter to a more in-depth discussion of the nuances of dual citizenship for Americans, including tax obligations and other responsibilities. For now, the key takeaway is that it is a legally recognized status. The primary allure of a Vanuatu passport for a U.S. applicant often centers on the concept of global mobility. While a U.S. passport is one of the most powerful travel documents in the world, it is not without its limitations. Visa requirements for U.S. citizens can change based on international relations and geopolitical shifts. A second passport can provide an alternative travel document, offering visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to a different set of countries. This can be particularly advantageous for frequent international travelers, business professionals, and digital nomads who require flexibility and ease of movement across borders. We will be providing a more detailed breakdown of the visa-free travel benefits associated with a Vanuatu passport in a future chapter. Beyond travel, acquiring a second citizenship is also a form of diversification. We often think of diversification in terms of our investment portfolios, spreading our assets across different stocks, bonds, and real estate to mitigate risk. Citizenship can be viewed through a similar lens. Having a second legal status in another country can provide a sense of security and a plan B in an unpredictable world. It offers the legal right to reside, work, and own property in a different jurisdiction, creating a personal and economic safe haven that is independent of one's country of origin. The Vanuatu program, in particular, is structured to be attractive to international investors. The primary route to citizenship is through a significant financial contribution to the country's economic development. This contribution is non-refundable and goes towards supporting the nation's infrastructure, education, and other public services. It's a way of investing in the future of Vanuatu while gaining the rights and privileges of citizenship in return. We will, of course, be breaking down the exact costs and investment options in a dedicated chapter later in this series. It's also worth noting what the Vanuatu program does not typically require. Many other residency and citizenship programs around the world have stringent requirements, such as language proficiency tests, long-term physical residency in the country, or complex business establishment criteria. The Vanuatu CBI program is known for its more straightforward approach, which has contributed to its popularity among international applicants. As we move forward in this audio guide, we will be dissecting each aspect of the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program in detail. We'll cover the step-by-step application process, the due diligence checks that are conducted, the timeline you can expect, and the inclusion of family members in your application. We will also explore the lifestyle and culture of Vanuatu, for those who may be considering spending time in their new country of citizenship. And importantly, we will revisit the legal and financial considerations for U.S. citizens, ensuring you have a well-rounded understanding of what this journey entails. We encourage you to listen with an open and inquisitive mind. The world of investment migration is complex, and it is not a path that is suitable for everyone. However, by educating yourself on the options that are available, you can make informed decisions about your future and your place in the global community. Thank you for joining us for this first chapter. In our next installment, we will take a closer look at the history and evolution of citizenship by investment programs, providing context for how and why countries like Vanuatu have opened their doors to international investors. We look forward to continuing this journey with you. Welcome back to our educational series on the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. In our previous chapter, we explored the history of investment migration, placing Vanuatu's modern program within a global context. Today, we transition from the historical to the practical. We will be examining the specific, tangible benefits that acquiring a Vanuatu citizenship can offer, particularly from the perspective of a United States citizen. As we delve into these advantages, please remember our foundational principle for this series. This information is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice. The benefits and regulations we discuss can have complex implications, especially for U.S. citizens who have unique worldwide tax obligations. It is absolutely essential to consult with qualified, independent professionals who can analyze your personal situation before making any decisions. Perhaps the most frequently cited benefit of a second passport is enhanced global mobility, and Vanuatu is no exception. While a U.S. passport is one of the most powerful in the world, granting access to many countries, it doesn't open every door without a visa. Geopolitical relationships shift, and visa policies can change with them. A Vanuatu passport provides an alternative travel document, diversifying your ability to move freely around the globe. As of 2025, a Vanuatu passport holder can access over 90 countries and territories without the need for a prearranged visa. This list includes destinations in Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, and parts of the Americas. For the U.S. entrepreneur looking to explore emerging markets in Southeast Asia, or the global traveler wanting to visit diverse locales without the bureaucratic hurdle of visa applications, this can be a significant advantage. It is crucial to note, however, that these visa-free travel agreements are dynamic. They are subject to change based on international agreements and diplomatic relations. Therefore, it is always recommended to verify the current visa requirements of any country before you travel. The key benefit is not just the list itself, but the flexibility and the additional options it provides. The second major area of interest for many applicants is Vanuatu's tax environment. For U.S. citizens, this topic requires careful consideration. The United States taxes its citizens on their worldwide income, regardless of where they live or where that income is earned. Obtaining a second citizenship does not change this fundamental obligation. You will still be required to file U.S. taxes every year. However, Vanuatu itself is known as a tax haven, or more formally, a low-tax jurisdiction. For its citizens, whether they reside in Vanuatu or not, the country imposes no personal income tax, no capital gains tax, and no inheritance or estate tax. This means that income earned outside of the United States, which might be taxed in another country, would not be taxed by Vanuatu. This can create opportunities for more efficient international financial planning. For an American living abroad or generating income from various international sources, structuring business and personal affairs with a second citizenship in a tax-neutral country, like Vanuatu, could present strategic advantages. Again, this is a highly complex area. The interaction between U.S. tax law and international structures requires expert advice from a tax professional who specializes in expatriate and dual citizenship matters. This is not a simple get-out-of-taxes solution, but rather a tool for sophisticated international financial planning. Beyond travel and taxes, Vanuatu citizenship can offer significant benefits for business and investment diversification. Holding citizenship in a country can make it simpler to establish a business, open bank accounts, and invest in local or regional markets. Vanuatu is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, which can provide certain advantages in dealing with other Commonwealth countries. The nation's economy is focused on tourism, agriculture, and offshore financial services. For entrepreneurs with interests in these sectors, having a foothold as a citizen could be beneficial. Imagine developing a boutique eco-resort, investing in sustainable agriculture projects, or using the nation's offshore financial center as a base for international operations. Citizenship can remove many of the barriers that foreign investors often face. Furthermore, the confidentiality provided by Vanuatu's legal framework is an attractive feature for many business owners and investors who value their financial privacy. Another key advantage of the Vanuatu program, which we touched on briefly before, is its efficiency. In the world of investment migration, Vanuatu's program is renowned for its speed. The entire process, from submitting the application to receiving citizenship and a passport, can often be completed in just a few months. This is a stark contrast to many other programs that can take a year or longer. For applicants who have an urgent need or desire for a second passport, whether for travel, business, or personal security, this rapid timeline is a compelling feature. The process is streamlined and clear, with the primary requirement being a significant financial contribution to the nation's development fund, alongside a thorough due diligence and vetting process. Finally, let's consider the personal security and Plan B aspect. While the United States is a stable country, the world is an unpredictable place. Having a second citizenship provides a legal right to reside in another country, a safe haven for you and your family in times of unforeseen crisis, be it political, economic, or social. It is a form of personal insurance against the unknown. It offers peace of mind, knowing you have a place to go where you have legal standing and are welcomed as a citizen. Vanuatu is known for its peaceful environment and has been ranked as one of the happiest places on Earth. While most applicants may never need to permanently relocate, the knowledge that the option exists is, for many, a priceless benefit in itself. In summary, the advantages of Vanuatu citizenship for a U.S. applicant are multifaceted. They range from the practical, like increased visa-free travel, to the strategic, such as the potential for tax optimization and business expansion, and finally to the personal, providing a sense of security and a lifelong connection to another nation. Each of these benefits warrants careful consideration, and as we've stressed, expert consultation. In our next chapter, we will begin to unpack the how. We'll move from the why to the what, detailing the specific financial requirements and investment options involved in the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. We hope you'll join us. Welcome back. In our first chapter, we introduced the concept of Vanuatu's Citizenship by Investment program as a potential avenue for U.S. citizens seeking greater global mobility and personal diversification. We laid the groundwork by emphasizing that this series is for educational purposes only, and that any personal decisions should be made with the guidance of qualified legal and financial professionals. Today, we're going to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. To truly understand the significance and mechanics of a program like Vanuatu's, it's essential to explore the history and evolution of citizenship by investment, or CBI, programs worldwide. The idea of acquiring citizenship is as old as the concept of nation-states themselves. Traditionally, citizenship has been granted based on principles like jus soli, the right of soil, where you are a citizen of the country you are born in, or jus sanguinis, the right of blood, where citizenship is inherited from your parents. Naturalization, the process by which a foreign citizen becomes a citizen of a country after meeting certain requirements like residency, is another common pathway. However, the concept of obtaining citizenship through a direct economic contribution is a much more recent development in the grand timeline of history. The origins of modern-day investment migration can be traced back to the 1980s. In 1984, the Caribbean nation of St. Kitts and Nevis established what is widely regarded as the world's first formal citizenship by investment program. Facing economic challenges related to its sugar industry, the country sought innovative ways to attract foreign direct investment. The solution was to offer citizenship to individuals who made a significant contribution to the nation's economy. This was a revolutionary idea at the time, creating a legal framework that directly linked citizenship to a specific economic investment, rather than long-term residency or ancestry. This pioneering move by St. Kitts and Nevis set a precedent. Other countries, particularly smaller nations looking to boost their economic resilience and reduce reliance on traditional industries, began to take notice. They saw how a well-structured program could generate significant non-tax revenue, funding public projects like infrastructure development, disaster relief, and social programs without increasing the tax burden on their existing populations. This new source of sovereign capital was, and continues to be, a powerful motivator for governments to establish and maintain these programs. Throughout the 1990s and into the early 2000s, the concept of investment migration began to mature. Other Caribbean countries such as Dominica followed suit, launching their own CBI programs. In the European Union, while full citizenship programs were slower to develop, countries began offering golden visas, which are residency by investment programs. These programs grant residency rights to investors and their families, often with a pathway to eventual citizenship after several years of maintaining the investment and meeting other residency requirements. Countries like Portugal, Spain, and Greece have become well known for these types of programs. So, where does Vanuatu fit into this global landscape? The Republic of Vanuatu is a relative newcomer to the CBI world, but it has quickly become one of the most prominent players. The nation first experimented with a form of economic citizenship in the 1990s, but the modern iteration of its program was launched in 2017. This was known as the Vanuatu Development Support Program, or VDSP, and the Vanuatu Contribution Program, or VCP. These programs were consolidated to create a single, streamlined process for applicants. Vanuatu's entry into the market was strategic. The government learned from the experiences of countries that had been running these programs for decades. They designed their program with a key focus on speed and efficiency, which has become its primary unique selling proposition. In an industry where application processing can sometimes take years, Vanuatu established a framework that aims to provide a decision within a matter of months. This efficiency has made it a highly attractive option for individuals seeking a fast and straightforward process. The programs focus on a direct financial contribution, rather than a real estate purchase or business investment, also simplifies the process for many applicants. The demand for these programs has grown significantly over the past 2 decades. For applicants, the motivations are diverse. As we touched on in the first chapter, increased global mobility is a major driver. A second passport can open up visa-free travel to destinations that might require a lengthy and uncertain visa application process, with one's primary passport. For business executives, entrepreneurs, and families who travel frequently, this can be a game changer. Another significant driver is the desire for a Plan B. In a world marked by political instability, economic volatility, and social unrest, many individuals seek the security of having an alternative place to call home. A second citizenship provides a legal right to live, work, and study in another country, offering a safe harbor for one's family and assets should the need ever arise. This is not about renouncing one's home country, but rather about building a more resilient and diversified personal life. For U.S. citizens, while their home country is stable, this desire for diversification and a backup plan remains a powerful motivator for exploring second citizenship options. It is also important to understand the rigorous due diligence process that is at the heart of any reputable CBI program. In the early days, there were concerns about these programs being used for illicit purposes. In response, the industry has evolved to incorporate extremely stringent vetting procedures. Applicants to the Vanuatu program, for example, undergo multi-layered background checks conducted by international, third-party due diligence firms. These checks scrutinize an applicant's identity, financial history, and criminal record to ensure that citizenship is only granted to reputable individuals. This process is crucial for maintaining the integrity of the program and ensuring the value and reputation of the citizenship itself. A passport is only as strong as the reputation of the country that issues it. As we conclude this chapter, it's clear that citizenship by investment is no longer a niche concept. It has become a legitimate and established industry, with dozens of countries around the world offering various programs. This evolution has been driven by the dual needs of nations seeking economic development and individuals seeking greater freedom and security in an uncertain world. The Vanuatu program is a direct product of this evolution, designed to be modern, efficient, and competitive. In our next chapter, we will shift our focus specifically back to Vanuatu and begin to explore the tangible benefits of its citizenship for a U.S. applicant. We will move beyond the general concepts of global mobility and delve into the specifics of what holding a Vanuatu passport can mean for your travel, business, and personal life. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to our educational series on the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment Program. In our previous chapter, we explored the history of investment migration, placing Vanuatu's modern program within a global context. Today, we transition from the historical to the practical. We will be examining the specific, tangible benefits that acquiring a Vanuatu citizenship can offer, particularly from the perspective of a United States citizen. As we delve into these advantages, please remember our foundational principle for this series. This information is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice. The benefits and regulations we discuss can have complex implications, especially for U.S. citizens who have unique worldwide tax obligations. It is absolutely essential to consult with qualified, independent professionals who can analyze your personal situation before making any decisions. Perhaps the most frequently cited benefit of a second passport is enhanced global mobility, and Vanuatu is no exception. While a U.S. passport is one of the most powerful in the world, granting access to many countries, it doesn't open every door without a visa. Geopolitical relationships shift, and visa policies can change with them. A Vanuatu passport provides an alternative travel document, diversifying your ability to move freely around the globe. As of early 2025, a Vanuatu passport holder can access over 90 countries and territories without the need for a pre-arranged visa. This list includes important business and travel hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong, as well as many destinations throughout Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean. For the U.S. entrepreneur looking to explore emerging markets, or the global traveler wanting to visit diverse locales without the bureaucratic hurdle of visa applications, this can be a significant advantage. It is crucial to note, however, that these visa-free travel agreements are dynamic. They are subject to change based on international agreements and diplomatic relations. Therefore, the key benefit is not just a static list of countries, but the added flexibility and the alternative options it provides for global travel. The second major area of interest for many applicants is Vanuatu's tax environment. For U.S. citizens, this topic requires extremely careful consideration. The United States taxes its citizens on their worldwide income, regardless of where they live or where that income is earned. Obtaining a second citizenship from Vanuatu, or any other country, does not change this fundamental obligation. You will still be required to file U.S. taxes every year. However, Vanuatu itself is what is known as a tax-neutral country. For its citizens, particularly those who do not reside there, the country imposes no personal income tax, no capital gains tax, and no inheritance or estate tax. This means that income earned outside of the United States, which might be taxed in another country, would not be taxed by Vanuatu. This can create opportunities for more efficient international financial planning. For an American living abroad or generating income from various international sources, structuring business and personal affairs with a second citizenship in a tax-neutral country, like Vanuatu, could present strategic advantages. Again, this is a highly complex area. The interaction between U.S. tax law and international structures requires expert advice from a tax professional who specializes in expatriate and dual citizenship matters. This is not a simple solution to eliminate taxes, but rather a potential tool for sophisticated international financial planning. Beyond travel and taxes, Vanuatu citizenship can offer significant benefits for business and investment diversification. Holding citizenship in a country can make it simpler to establish a business, open bank accounts, and invest in local or regional markets. Vanuatu is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations, which can provide certain advantages in dealing with other Commonwealth countries. The nation's economy is focused on tourism, agriculture, and offshore financial services. For entrepreneurs with interests in these sectors, having a foothold as a citizen could be beneficial. Imagine developing a boutique eco-resort, investing in sustainable agriculture projects, or using the nation's established offshore financial center as a base for international operations. Citizenship can remove many of the barriers that foreign investors often face. Furthermore, the confidentiality provided by Vanuatu's legal framework is an attractive feature for many business owners and investors who value their financial privacy, while still adhering to their U.S. reporting obligations. Another key advantage of the Vanuatu program, which we touched on briefly before, is its efficiency. In the world of investment migration, Vanuatu's program is renowned for its speed. The entire process, from submitting the application to receiving citizenship and a passport, can often be completed in just a few months. This is a stark contrast to many other programs that can take a year or longer. For applicants who have a time-sensitive need or desire for a second passport, whether for travel, business, or personal security, this rapid timeline is a compelling feature. The process is streamlined, with the primary requirement being a financial contribution to the nation's development fund, following a thorough due diligence and vetting process. Finally, let's consider the personal security and Plan B aspect. While the United States is a stable country, the world is an unpredictable place. Having a second citizenship provides a legal right to reside in another country. a safe haven for you and your family in times of unforeseen crisis, be it political, economic, or social. It is a form of personal insurance against the unknown. It offers peace of mind, knowing you have a place to go where you have legal standing and are welcomed as a citizen. Vanuatu is known for its peaceful environment and has been recognized for its high levels of happiness. While most applicants may never need to permanently relocate, the knowledge that the option exists is, for many, a priceless benefit in itself. In summary, the advantages of Vanuatu citizenship for a U.S. applicant are multifaceted. They range from the practical, like increased visa-free travel, to the strategic, such as the potential for tax and business planning, and finally to the personal, providing a sense of security and a lifelong connection to another nation. Each of these benefits warrants careful consideration, and as we've stressed, expert consultation. In our next chapter, we will begin to unpack the how. We'll move from the why to the what, detailing the specific financial requirements and investment options involved in the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. We hope you'll join us. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we outlined the key benefits of Vanuatu citizenship for a U.S. applicant, from enhanced global mobility to its tax-neutral environment. Now we move to a crucial part of our educational journey, understanding the investment component of the Citizenship by Investment program. This chapter will detail the financial requirements you can expect. Before we proceed, it is absolutely critical to reiterate our core disclaimer. This chapter will discuss specific monetary figures and investment structures. This is presented solely for informational and educational purposes, to provide a general overview of the program's costs as they are publicly understood. This is not financial advice, an investment recommendation, or a solicitation of any kind. The figures mentioned are subject to change by the Vanuatu government at any time. All financial decisions, especially those of this magnitude, should only be made after thorough consultation with your personal legal and financial advisors who can provide guidance based on your specific circumstances and the most current regulations. The primary route to citizenship under the Vanuatu program is a direct, non-refundable contribution to the government. This is often referred to as a donation. The funds from this contribution are directed into a government fund, such as the Development Support Program, or DSP. This capital is used by the nation for economic development, infrastructure projects, and disaster relief efforts, such as rebuilding after cyclones. So, in essence, the investment is a contribution to the country's national development in exchange for the rights of citizenship. Let's break down the typical contribution amounts. These figures are tiered based on the number of applicants included in a single application. As of 2025, for a single applicant, the required contribution is generally $130,000. For a married couple applying together, this amount typically increases to $150,000. The program is family-friendly, allowing the main applicant to include dependents. For a family of 3, meaning the main applicant, a spouse, and 1 child, the contribution amount is usually around $165,000. For a family of 4 with 2 children, the amount is approximately $180,000. There are provisions to add further dependents, such as additional children or even dependent parents, for an additional fee per person, which is often in the range of $10,000 to $25,000 depending on the specific program stream and the dependent's age. It's important to understand that this contribution is the largest component of the cost, but it is not the only one. There are several other mandatory fees that must be factored into the total financial commitment. The first and most critical is the due diligence fee. As we mentioned in a previous chapter, every applicant undergoes a strict and thorough background check. This is conducted by an independent, internationally recognized firm that verifies the applicant's identity, source of funds, and clean criminal record. This fee is paid up front when the application is submitted and is non-refundable, regardless of the application's outcome. The due diligence fee is typically around $5,000 to $5,500 per application. In addition to the due diligence fee, there are other government administrative fees, application fees, passport issuance fees, and oath-taking fees. While these are smaller than the main contribution, they add up and must be accounted for. Furthermore, you must apply to the program through an officially authorized agent. These agents are accredited by the Vanuatu government to handle applications. They will charge their own professional service fees for preparing your application, liaising with the government, and guiding you through the process. These professional fees vary from firm to firm. So to recap the financial structure, the total cost is a sum of several parts.
Disclaimer. The information presented is for informational purposes only, and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.
First, the main non-refundable contribution to the government fund, which varies by family size. Second, the non-refundable due diligence fee. And third, various government and professional agent fees. It is essential for any interested individual to obtain a detailed, all-inclusive quotation from an authorized agent to understand the full and final cost before beginning the process. The process for payment is also structured to protect the applicant. You are not required to pay the full contribution amount upfront. Typically, only the due diligence and a portion of the agent fees are paid at the time of submission. The large contribution is only paid after the government has completed its vetting process and has approved your application in principle. This provides a significant layer of security for the applicant, ensuring that the main investment is made only when citizenship is effectively guaranteed. You may also come across different named programs or investment options for Vanuatu. For instance, in addition to the Development Support Program (DSP), there have been other streams like the Capital Investment Immigration Plan (CIP), which may have slightly different cost structures, sometimes involving a partially redeemable investment component. The availability and terms of these options can change. This underscores the importance of getting the most current information from an official or authorized source at the time of your interest. For any U.S. applicant, a critical consideration is the source of funds. The Vanuatu government will require clear documentation proving that the investment capital was obtained through legal means. This could include business profits, salary, inheritance, or the sale of assets. Preparing this documentation is a key part of the application process that your authorized agent will assist you with. In our next chapter, we will walk through the application process step by step. We'll outline the journey from the initial consultation with an agent to the moment you receive your Vanuatu passport, helping you understand the timeline and the key milestones along the way. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. In our previous chapter, we detailed the financial commitments involved in the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment Program. Now that we have a foundational understanding of the why and the what, it's time to explore the how. This chapter will provide a step-by-step educational overview of the application journey, from your initial preparations to the final receipt of your new passport. It is essential to preface this guide with a clear statement. This is a description of a typical process and is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice or a guarantee of this specific timeline or outcome for any individual. The Vanuatu government can and does update its procedures. Working with an officially authorized agent is mandatory for submitting an application, and they will provide the precise, up-to-the-minute guidance required to navigate the process successfully. Step 1. Initial consultation and choosing an authorized agent. The very first step on this journey is not filling out a form, but conducting your own research and selecting an authorized agent. The Vanuatu government maintains a list of accredited agents who are licensed to handle CBI applications. You cannot apply directly to the government. This is a crucial protective measure, ensuring that all applications are prepared correctly and that applicants are properly vetted. During this initial phase, you would consult with one or more of these firms. They will explain the process, provide a detailed cost breakdown, and conduct a preliminary, confidential check to identify any potential red flags that might affect your eligibility. This initial pre-screening is vital to avoid unnecessary costs and efforts if you do not meet the basic criteria. Step 2. Document collection and preparation. Once you have formally engaged an agent, the most labor-intensive part of the process for the applicant begins: gathering the required documentation. While the specific list can vary slightly, it is comprehensive. For a U.S. applicant, this typically includes certified copies of your current passport, your birth certificate, and national identity cards if you have them. If you are including family, you will need marriage certificates and birth certificates for your spouse and children. You will also need to provide police clearance certificates. This is a critical document. You must obtain a certificate from your country of citizenship. In this case, an FBI identity history summary for the U.S. and from any country where you have resided for more than 1 year over the past decade. Additionally, you will be required to provide a detailed curriculum vitae or resume, a medical certificate confirming good health, and professional reference letters, often from a lawyer or an accountant. Finally, you will need to prepare extensive financial documentation that clearly demonstrates your net worth and proves the legal source of the funds you will be using for the investment. Step 3. Submission for due diligence. With your document portfolio complete, your authorized agent will submit your application to the Vanuatu government's Financial Intelligence Unit, or FIU. At this stage, you will pay the non-refundable due diligence fee. This kicks off the formal background check. The FIU, often working with international third-party agencies, will conduct a thorough investigation to verify your identity, the legitimacy of your funds, and your clean criminal record. They will check international databases and sanctions lists. This is the most critical vetting stage of the entire process, and its successful completion is necessary to move forward. This process typically takes a few weeks. Step 4. Government approval in principle. Once the FIU check is successfully completed and the screening committee has reviewed your file, the government will issue an approval in principle. This is a formal letter stating that your application has been accepted, contingent upon you making the required financial contribution. This is a significant milestone and a key security feature of the program. It means you only transfer the main investment sum after you have been thoroughly vetted and pre-approved. Step 5. Making the investment. Upon receiving the approval in principle, you will be instructed to make the full, non-refundable contribution to the designated government bank account. Your agent will guide you through this wire transfer process. You typically have a set period, often up to 30 days, to complete this transaction. Once the funds are received and confirmed by the Vanuatu government, you move to the final stage. Step 6. The oath of allegiance and passport issuance. With the investment confirmed, a certificate of naturalization will be issued in your name. The final step to formalize your new citizenship is taking the oath of allegiance. You pledge your allegiance to the Republic of Vanuatu. Historically, this required a visit to Vanuatu or for government officials to travel to the applicant. However, the process has been modernized, and it is now commonly administered remotely via a secure video conference call in the presence of a commissioner of oaths. After you have taken the oath, your Vanuatu passport is printed and issued. Your agent will arrange for the secure delivery of your certificate of naturalization and your new passport, marking the successful conclusion of your journey. The entire process, from initial submission to passport in hand, is known for its efficiency and can often be completed in as little as 2 to 4 months, making it one of the fastest CBI programs in the world. In our next chapter, we will address a crucial topic for all U.S. citizens considering this path: the implications of holding dual citizenship, including U.S. tax obligations and other legal responsibilities. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we walked through the step-by-step process of applying for Vanuatu citizenship. Now, we must address one of the most critical and often misunderstood topics for any American considering this path: the realities of holding dual citizenship. What does it mean for your legal standing? And most importantly, what are your obligations to the United States government? Before we dive in, this chapter requires our most emphatic disclaimer yet. The information provided here is for educational purposes only, and is not a substitute for professional legal and tax advice. The topics of U.S. citizenship law and taxation are incredibly complex. We are providing a general overview to raise awareness of the issues you must discuss in detail with a qualified U.S. tax attorney or a certified public accountant specializing in expatriate tax matters. Do not take any action based solely on the information in this audio series. First, let's address a common question. Is dual citizenship legal for Americans? The answer is unequivocally yes. United States law does not prohibit a U.S. citizen from acquiring or holding citizenship in another country. There is no need to choose between your U.S. citizenship and a new one, such as from Vanuatu. The U.S. Supreme Court has affirmed this position over the years. You can be a citizen of both the United States and Vanuatu simultaneously. However, while it is legal, the U.S. government has specific expectations. When you are in the United States, or in a U.S. territory, you are treated exclusively as a U.S. citizen. Your Vanuatu citizenship has no legal standing there. Furthermore, a fundamental rule for dual citizens is that you must use your U.S. passport to enter and leave the United States. You cannot enter the U.S. on your Vanuatu passport. This is a matter of law and is strictly enforced. Now let's turn to the most significant obligation: taxes. This is where the concept of citizenship-based taxation comes into play, a practice unique to the United States and Eritrea. It means that as a U.S. citizen, you are required to file a U.S. federal tax return every year, reporting your worldwide income, regardless of where you live or where that income is earned. Obtaining a second citizenship from Vanuatu does not change this obligation in any way. Even if you were to live in Vanuatu for the entire year and earn all your income there, you must still report that income to the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. This does not automatically mean you will be double taxed. The U.S. tax code has several provisions to mitigate this, such as the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion, or FEIE, and the Foreign Tax Credit, or FTC. The FEIE allows you to exclude a significant portion of your foreign earned income from U.S. taxation if you meet certain residency requirements abroad. The FTC may allow you to reduce your U.S. tax liability by the amount of taxes you've paid to a foreign government. As Vanuatu has no personal income tax, the foreign tax credit would be less relevant for income earned there, making the FEIE a more common tool. These are complex calculations and require professional guidance to apply correctly. Beyond income tax, there are critical reporting requirements. One of the most important is the FBAR, or the Report of Foreign Bank and Financial Accounts. If you, as a U.S. citizen, have a financial interest in or signature authority over foreign financial accounts, and the total value of those accounts exceeds $10,000 at any point during the calendar year, you must file an FBAR with the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. This is an annual reporting requirement, separate from your tax return, and the penalties for failing to file can be severe. Similarly, under the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, or FATCA, you may also need to file IRS Form 8938, Statement of Specified Foreign Financial Assets, with your tax return. This is required if the value of your foreign financial assets exceeds certain thresholds, which are much higher than the FBAR threshold. These two reporting requirements are not mutually exclusive. You may be required to file both. Another legal consideration involves security clearances. If you work for the U.S. government or a contractor in a position that requires a security clearance, holding dual citizenship can be a complicating factor. It does not automatically disqualify you, but it will be subject to intense scrutiny under what is known as the whole person concept. Adjudicators will look for any sign of foreign influence or preference that could conflict with your loyalty to the United States. You must be completely transparent about your dual citizenship status during the clearance process. In summary, becoming a dual citizen does not sever your ties or obligations to the United States. You remain a U.S. citizen in the eyes of the U.S. government, with all the responsibilities that entails. Your primary duties include using your U.S. passport for travel to and from the U.S., filing U.S. taxes on your worldwide income annually, and complying with all foreign asset reporting requirements like FBAR and FATCA. While the benefits of a second passport are numerous, they exist alongside these enduring responsibilities. In our next chapter, we will shift our focus to the destination itself. We'll explore the lifestyle, culture, and practical aspects of living or doing business in the Republic of Vanuatu. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. Thus far in our series, we have focused on the legal and financial mechanics of the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. But citizenship is more than just a passport. It's a connection to a nation, its people, and its way of life. In this chapter, we will shift our perspective to the islands themselves. What is it actually like to live, work, or do business in Vanuatu? As we paint this picture, it's important to remember that this is a broad overview. Individual experiences can vary greatly. This chapter is for educational and informational purposes, offering a glimpse into the lifestyle and environment of Vanuatu, and is not an inducement to relocate or a promise of any particular business outcome. Vanuatu is an archipelago of over 80 islands in the South Pacific, a place of truly remarkable natural beauty. The landscape is a dramatic mix of volcanic mountains, dense rainforests, and stunning coastlines with vibrant coral reefs. For those who love the outdoors, the country is a playground. Activities like world-class scuba diving, snorkeling, hiking to active volcanoes, and deep-sea fishing are not just tourist attractions. They are a part of the local lifestyle. The climate is tropical, with a wet season and a dry season, offering warm weather year-round. The culture of Vanuatu is incredibly rich and diverse, with over 100 distinct languages spoken across the islands. The local people are known as Inai Vanuatu, and they are widely regarded as being exceptionally warm and welcoming. The core of the culture is what's known as custom, the traditional customs, values, and ways of life that have been passed down for generations. This includes intricate ceremonies, traditional music and dance, and a deep, spiritual connection to the land and the community. While the capital, Port Vila, has a more international and modern feel, stepping outside the city quickly immerses you in this traditional, community-oriented world. The pace of life is significantly slower than in the United States, often referred to as island time. For some, this is a welcome respite from a high-pressure lifestyle. For others, it can be an adjustment. The capital city, Port Vila, located on the island of Vanuatu, is the main hub for expatriates and business. Here you will find modern amenities like supermarkets stocking imported goods from Australia and New Zealand, a variety of restaurants and cafes, international schools, and private medical clinics. The cost of living in Port Vila can be comparable to a small city in the US, particularly for imported goods, which are subject to shipping costs and import duties. However, a lifestyle that embraces local produce, fresh fish, tropical fruits, and root vegetables bought from the bustling roadside markets can be quite affordable. Outside of Port Vila, life is much simpler and more rural. Infrastructure, including roads, electricity, and internet access, can be less reliable. This is an important consideration for anyone thinking of spending significant time in the more remote islands. While basic healthcare is available through public hospitals and clinics, serious or specialized medical care often requires evacuation to larger countries like Australia or New Caledonia. For this reason, comprehensive international health insurance is a necessity for any expatriate living in Vanuatu. Now let's turn to the business environment. Vanuatu's economy is primarily based on agriculture, tourism, and offshore financial services. As a new citizen, you have the right to live, work, and own a business in the country. To start a business as a foreign investor, even as a citizen, you must obtain approval from the Vanuatu Foreign Investment Promotion Agency, or FIPA. This process involves submitting a detailed business plan and demonstrating that your venture will benefit the local economy. The government is generally pro-business and encourages foreign investment, particularly in the tourism sector. There are opportunities in areas like boutique resorts, ecotourism ventures, and dive operations. Agriculture, especially in organic products like beef, coffee, and kava, also presents potential. The offshore financial sector is well established, offering services like company incorporation and banking, all within the country's tax-neutral framework that we discussed in a previous chapter. However, doing business in Vanuatu has its own unique set of challenges. The logistics of operating in an island nation can be complex. The workforce may require training to meet international standards, and navigating the local bureaucracy and customs requires patience and a willingness to build personal relationships. Internet connectivity, while improving with the introduction of satellite services like Starlink and ongoing investment in submarine cables, may not be as fast or reliable as what you are accustomed to in the US, particularly outside of the main urban centers. For most US applicants to the CBI program, the goal is not immediate relocation but rather securing the option for the future. They see Vanuatu as a potential Plan B residence, a base for international business, or simply a beautiful place to visit as a citizen rather than a tourist. Understanding the on-the-ground reality, the immense beauty and cultural richness alongside the infrastructural challenges, is key to having a well-rounded perspective. In our next chapter, we'll compare Vanuatu's CBI program with other options around the world, helping you to understand its unique position in the global investment migration landscape. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. Throughout this series, we have focused exclusively on the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. However, Vanuatu is just one of several nations that offer a route to citizenship through investment. To make a truly informed decision, it's helpful to understand where Vanuatu stands in the global marketplace. In this chapter, we will provide a comparative overview of Vanuatu's program against other popular options. As always, this information is for educational and comparative purposes only. It is not investment advice, nor is it a recommendation of one program over another. The details of these programs, including costs and visa-free travel lists, are constantly changing. This chapter provides a general snapshot to illustrate the key differences and should be verified with an authorized agent for the most current data. The global landscape of citizenship by investment, or CBI, is primarily dominated by two regions: the Caribbean and a few select countries in Europe and beyond. Let's start by comparing Vanuatu to the well-established programs in the Caribbean, such as those offered by Street Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, and Antigua and Barbuda. The first major point of comparison is the minimum investment cost. Historically, the Caribbean nations and Vanuatu have been competitively priced. The primary route for all these programs is a non-refundable contribution to a national development fund. As of 2025, Vanuatu's starting contribution for a single applicant, at around $130,000, is one of the most affordable in the world. While some Caribbean programs have at times offered entry points at similar or even lower figures, Recent trends have seen minimum contributions in the Caribbean rising, often to $200,000 or more. For families, Vanuatu's tiered pricing structure also remains highly competitive. The second, and perhaps most significant, differentiator for Vanuatu is processing speed. As we discussed in a previous chapter, Vanuatu's program is renowned for its efficiency, with a timeline of just 2 to 4 months from submission to passport issuance. This is currently the fastest processing time in the world. Caribbean programs, while still efficient, typically take longer, with average processing times ranging from 4 to 9 months. For an applicant who values speed above all else, Vanuatu holds a distinct advantage. However, when we turn to global mobility and visa-free travel, the comparison becomes more nuanced. The key advantage of the Caribbean passports is that they generally offer visa-free access to the European Union's Schengen area, as well as the United Kingdom. This is a major benefit for those who travel frequently to Europe for business or leisure. Vanuatu's passport, on the other hand, does not currently offer visa-free access to the Schengen zone or the UK. While it provides excellent access to many countries in Asia and other parts of the world, this is a critical distinction that applicants must consider based on their personal travel patterns. One Caribbean nation, Grenada, offers a unique benefit of particular interest to U.S. citizens. Grenada is a signatory to the U.S. E-2 Investor Visa Treaty, which allows its citizens to apply to live and work in the United States by making a substantial investment in a U.S.-based business. For those looking for a potential pathway to the U.S., Grenadian citizenship can be a strategic stepping stone, an option not available through Vanuatu or the other Caribbean CBI programs. Moving beyond the Caribbean, we can look at programs like Turkey's. The Turkish CBI program often involves a real estate investment, typically requiring a purchase of at least $400,000. While the cost is higher, it offers the benefit of an investment in a tangible asset that can be sold after a holding period. Turkey also has its own E-2 treaty with the United States, similar to Grenada. The processing time for Turkey's program is generally longer than Vanuatu's. At the highest end of the spectrum are European programs, such as Malta's. Malta's granting of citizenship for exceptional services by direct investment offers the gold standard of citizenship, the right to live, work, and study in any of the 27 EU member countries. However, this comes at a significantly higher cost, involving a contribution of over €600,000, a real estate purchase or lease, and a charitable donation. The total outlay is well over $1 million, and the process is much longer, requiring a residency period of at least 1 to 3 years before citizenship is granted. So where does this leave Vanuatu? Its position in the market is clear. It is the premier choice for speed and affordability. For an applicant whose primary goals are to secure a Plan B citizenship quickly, diversify their passport portfolio for travel to Asia and non-EU countries, and do so with a straightforward and efficient process, Vanuatu is arguably the strongest contender. However, for an applicant whose top priority is visa-free access to the EU and the UK, or for someone interested in the US E-2 visa pathway, the Caribbean options, particularly Grenada, might be a better strategic fit, despite the longer processing time and potentially higher cost. For those with a much higher budget and a desire for EU citizenship, a program like Malta's would be the objective, though it exists in a completely different tier of investment and commitment. Ultimately, there is no single best program. The right choice depends entirely on the individual applicant's priorities, budget, travel needs, and long-term goals. In our next chapter, we will discuss the critical process of due diligence in greater detail, explaining why it's a cornerstone of any reputable CBI program, and what you can expect during the vetting stage. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. In our previous chapter, we compared the Vanuatu CBI program with others around the globe. A term that repeatedly came up, regardless of the program, was due diligence. This process is, without exaggeration, the single most important element in any legitimate citizenship by investment program. Today, we are taking a deep dive into what due diligence truly means, why it is so critical, and what applicants should expect during this intensive vetting phase. This chapter is designed to provide an educational overview of a complex security and financial verification process. It is not legal advice and should not be interpreted as a guide on how to pass these checks. The purpose is to foster an understanding of the integrity and security measures that underpin a reputable program like Vanuatu's. So what is due diligence in this context? It is a comprehensive and multi-layered investigation into an applicant's background. Its primary purpose is to protect the host country, in this case Vanuatu, from granting citizenship to individuals who could pose a risk to its security or reputation. It ensures that applicants are of high moral character, have a clean criminal record, and have acquired their wealth through legal and legitimate means. A strong due diligence process is what gives the second passport its value and international credibility. Without it, the passport's visa-free travel privileges and the country's reputation could be compromised. The process begins the moment you engage an authorized agent. The agent performs an initial, internal check based on the documents you provide. This is a preliminary screening to catch any obvious issues before your application is formally submitted. It is the first layer of vetting. Once your application is officially submitted to the Vanuatu government, the next and most critical phase begins. The file is handed over to Vanuatu's Financial Intelligence Unit, or FIU. The FIU is a specialized government agency, similar to the Treasury Department's FinCEN in the United States, responsible for combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes. This is not a simple paperwork review. The FIU initiates a series of detailed checks. First, they verify all your personal identity documents to ensure they are authentic. Second, they conduct thorough global criminal background checks. This goes far beyond the police clearance certificate you provide. The FIU utilizes international law enforcement databases, such as those maintained by Interpol, to search for any history of criminal activity, pending investigations, or international warrants. Being on any sanctions lists from bodies like the U.S. Treasury's OFAC, the United Nations, or the European Union would be an immediate disqualifier. The next major focus is the source of your funds. You must provide a clear and well-documented trail for the capital you are using for the investment. The FIU will scrutinize your bank statements, business ownership documents, property sale agreements, and any other evidence you submit. They are looking for a logical and legal explanation for how you accumulated your wealth. The goal is to ensure that the funds are not the proceeds of crime. An unexplained, sudden influx of cash would raise a major red flag. For U.S. applicants, this means being prepared to provide detailed financial histories that are transparent and verifiable. To accomplish this comprehensive vetting, the FIU does not work alone. They contract with several world-renowned, independent due diligence firms headquartered in the US and the UK. These are specialized risk management agencies that have global networks of investigators and access to a vast array of databases not available to the general public. These firms conduct on-the-ground checks, verifying your stated employment history, business operations, and personal reputation in your home country, and any other country you have resided in. They will also perform deep-dive media and public record searches, looking for any negative press, litigation history, or other reputational risks. This multi-layered approach, combining the authorized agent's initial check, the Vanuatu FIU's official investigation, and the expertise of independent international firms, creates a robust and resilient vetting system. It is designed to be difficult to circumvent. The integrity of this process is paramount for several reasons. Firstly, for Vanuatu, it protects its national security and its relationship with the international community. Countries that grant visa-free access to Vanuatu passport holders do so with the trust that Vanuatu is only granting citizenship to reputable individuals. Any failure in this process could jeopardize those crucial travel agreements. Secondly, for you as an applicant, a strong due diligence process protects the long-term value of your investment. A passport from a country with a weak or corrupt vetting process will eventually be devalued, and its travel privileges revoked. By undergoing a rigorous check, you are gaining citizenship that has been earned through transparency and is respected on the global stage. It is because of this intensive process that the due diligence fee is paid up front and is non-refundable. The investigative work is performed regardless of the final outcome. Any applicant who is not completely confident in their ability to demonstrate a clean background and a legitimate source of funds should reconsider applying. Transparency is not optional. It is the foundation of the entire application. In our next chapter, we will address a common area of interest for applicants: the inclusion of family members. We will discuss who qualifies as a dependent and what the process and costs look like for a family application. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we took a deep dive into the critical due diligence process that underpins the credibility of the Vanuatu CBI program. For many people considering a second citizenship, the decision is not just a personal one. It's about securing a future for their entire family. With that in mind, today's chapter will focus on how the Vanuatu program accommodates family applications. We'll explore who can be included, what the process entails, and how it affects the overall cost. As with all topics in this series, the information presented here is for educational purposes only. family structures and dependency laws can be complex. This overview is not a substitute for legal advice. The rules regarding dependents can change, and you must consult with an authorized agent to understand the specific requirements and eligibility criteria that apply at the time of your application.
Disclaimer: the information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.
The Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program is fundamentally designed to be family inclusive. The government recognizes that applicants often wish to provide the same benefits of a second citizenship to their closest relatives. A single application can be submitted on behalf of a family unit, which is both more efficient and more cost-effective than individual applications. So, who qualifies as a dependent? The primary applicant is, of course, the individual leading the application and providing the investment funds. Beyond the main applicant, the definition of an eligible dependent is quite broad. Let's break it down. First, the spouse of the main applicant can be included. This is typically a legally married husband or wife, and a marriage certificate will be required as proof of the relationship. Next, and most commonly, are children. Children under the age of 18 are almost always eligible to be included. The program is also generous in its inclusion of adult children. Generally, unmarried children between the ages of 18 and 25 can still be included in the application if they are financially dependent on the main applicant. To prove this dependency, you will typically need to provide evidence that the child is a full-time student, such as university enrollment records and transcripts. The underlying principle is that they are not yet financially independent and are still a part of the core family unit. Beyond children, the Vanuatu program also makes provisions for including parents. This is a significant benefit not offered by all CBI programs. Dependent parents of the main applicant, and in many cases the spouse's parents as well, can be included in the application. There is usually an age requirement, with parents needing to be over the age of 50 or 52 to qualify. Similar to adult children, the key factor is financial dependency. You will need to demonstrate that you are supporting your parents financially. The inclusion of family members directly impacts the total cost of the investment, but it does so in a predictable, tiered manner. As we mentioned in our chapter on financial commitments, the one-time, non-refundable contribution to the government's development fund increases with each family member added. To give you an idea of the structure, a single applicant has a baseline contribution of $130,000. For a married couple, this amount increases to $150,000. For a family of 3, a couple with 1 child, the contribution is around $165,000. And for a family of 4, a couple with 2 children, the amount is typically $180,000. For each additional dependent beyond 4 people, whether it's another child or a parent, there is an additional flat fee per person, generally in the range of $10,000 to $25,000. This tiered pricing makes the program very attractive for families, as the marginal cost of adding a member is significantly less than the cost of a standalone application. It's important to note that while the main contribution fee covers the entire family, other fees might apply. For instance, due diligence is conducted on all adult applicants, so there will be vetting fees for your spouse and any children over the age of 18. There are also standard government processing and passport issuance fees for each individual. The documentation process for a family application is, as you would expect, more extensive. In addition to the main applicant's complete file, you will need to provide certified copies of birth certificates for all children to prove the parent-child relationship. A certified copy of your marriage certificate is required to include your spouse. For dependent adult children, you'll need proof of their university enrollment. For dependent parents, you may need their birth certificates and evidence of your financial support. An authorized agent will provide you with a detailed checklist to ensure you gather all the necessary documents for every member of your family. Once the application is approved, every individual included, regardless of age, will be granted full Vanuatu citizenship and will be issued their own Vanuatu passport. This citizenship is hereditary, meaning it can be passed down to future generations by descent, securing a legacy for your family's future global mobility. In our next chapter, we will discuss potential risks and important considerations. We'll look at some of the challenges and criticisms of CBI programs and what prospective applicants should be aware of before proceeding. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. So far in our series, we have explored the benefits, processes, and details of the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. To provide a truly comprehensive and responsible overview, it is now time to turn our attention to the other side of the coin: the potential risks, challenges, and important considerations that every prospective applicant must be aware of. This chapter is designed to provide a balanced and objective perspective. The points discussed are for informational purposes to ensure you have a complete picture. They are not intended to dissuade or persuade, but to educate. As always, this is not financial, legal, or geopolitical advice. A thorough personal risk assessment should be conducted with your own professional advisors. The most significant risk for any citizenship by investment program is the potential for change in its visa-free travel agreements. A passport's value is largely tied to its global mobility. These agreements are not permanent. They are diplomatic arrangements between two countries and can be altered or revoked. We have seen this happen with Vanuatu. A few years ago, Vanuatu citizens enjoyed visa-free access to the European Union's Schengen area. However, due to concerns the EU raised about the due diligence standards of the program at the time, this privilege was suspended. As of late 2025, that suspension remains in effect. While the Vanuatu government has taken steps to strengthen its vetting processes to address these concerns, there is no guarantee if or when visa-free access to the EU will be restored. This highlights a crucial point. The benefits of a CBI program can be dynamic. An applicant must evaluate the program based on its current offerings, while understanding that those offerings could change in the future due to geopolitical shifts or the actions of other governments. Another consideration is the program's own stability. CBI programs are a significant source of revenue for host countries, but they can also be politically sensitive. A change in government could potentially lead to changes in the CBI program's structure, cost, or even its existence. While Vanuatu's program is well established, it is wise to be aware that the laws governing it could be amended in the future. Furthermore, there is a reputational aspect to consider. CBI programs, in general, have faced criticism from some international bodies and media outlets, who raise concerns about them being potential channels for illicit funds or for individuals seeking to evade justice. This is precisely why the due diligence process, which we covered in Chapter 9, is so stringent. However, a U.S. citizen choosing to participate in such a program should be aware of this international perception and be prepared for potential scrutiny from banks or foreign officials who may view a CBI passport with an extra degree of caution. For a U.S. applicant specifically, the risks are more nuanced. As we discussed in Chapter 6, your U.S. tax and reporting obligations are unaffected. A common misconception is that a second citizenship offers a simple way to reduce U.S. taxes, which is incorrect. In fact, it adds a layer of complexity to your financial life. Failing to properly report your foreign assets or your new status can lead to significant penalties from the IRS. The administrative burden of maintaining compliance with two sets of national expectations is a real and ongoing commitment. There's also the matter of geopolitical alignment. By becoming a citizen of another nation, you are linking yourself to its foreign policy and international relations. While Vanuatu is a small, generally neutral country, it is important to be aware of its relationships on the world stage. Any future diplomatic disputes between Vanuatu and other countries could, in theory, affect its citizens. Finally, a crucial point to remember is that the main investment, the contribution to the government's development fund, is non-refundable. This is not a passive investment that generates a financial return or can be liquidated later. It is a sunk cost. The return on this investment is the citizenship itself and the rights that come with it. Therefore, if the program's benefits were to diminish significantly in the future, for instance through the loss of more visa-free travel agreements, there is no way to recoup the initial financial outlay. In summary, a decision to pursue a second citizenship is significant and requires a clear-eyed view of both the powerful advantages and the potential downsides. The key considerations include the dynamic nature of visa-free travel, the stability of the program itself, the international reputation of CBI, the ongoing complexities of U.S. tax compliance, and the non-refundable nature of the investment. Acknowledging and planning for these factors is the hallmark of a well-informed applicant. In our next chapter, we will discuss the long-term perspective. What happens after you become a citizen? We'll cover passport renewal, adding future family members, and engaging with your new country. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we took a balanced look at the potential risks and considerations involved in pursuing a second citizenship. Now let's look beyond the application process to the long-term realities of holding Vanuatu citizenship. What happens years down the line? How do you maintain your status, renew your documents, and what happens when your family grows? This chapter will address the practical aspects of your lifelong relationship with your new country. As always, the information we're sharing is for educational purposes. Procedures for passport renewal and family registration can change. You should always consult official Vanuatu government sources or an authorized agent for the most current processes and requirements. The first practical matter you will encounter as a long-term citizen is passport renewal. Until recently, Vanuatu passports obtained through investment had a validity of 5 years. However, in a significant and positive development, the validity period for new Vanuatu passports has been extended to 10 years. This brings it in line with U.S. passports and reduces the administrative frequency of renewals. The renewal process is designed to be straightforward and, importantly, does not require you to travel to Vanuatu. You can typically handle the entire process through a Vanuatu consulate or embassy abroad, or with the assistance of an authorized agent. The required documents generally include the completed renewal application form, your expiring passport, your original certificate of citizenship, and 2 recent passport-size photos that meet the official specifications. You will also need to pay the standard passport renewal fee. It's a simple administrative process, not a requalification. You do not have to prove your financial standing again, or go through another round of due diligence. Your citizenship is for life. A common and joyful question that new citizens have is, what happens when our family grows? Let's consider 2 scenarios. First, if you have a child after you've become a citizen. Your Vanuatu citizenship is hereditary. This means your newborn child is entitled to Vanuatu citizenship by descent. You will need to register the child's birth and apply for their passport, providing documents like the child's birth certificate and your own certificate of citizenship. This is a simple registration process, not a new investment application. This ability to pass citizenship to future generations is one of the most powerful and lasting benefits of the program. The second scenario is getting married after you have obtained citizenship. Your new spouse does not automatically become a citizen. Unlike children born to a citizen, a spouse must typically qualify for citizenship on their own. They cannot simply be added to your original investment application retroactively. However, as the spouse of a Vanuatu citizen, they may be eligible to apply for citizenship through naturalization by marriage. This is a separate legal pathway that usually involves a period of residency in Vanuatu and meeting other criteria, which are distinct from the investment program. Now, let's discuss your ongoing engagement with Vanuatu as a non-resident citizen. For the vast majority of CBI participants, life continues in their home country. There are no residency requirements to maintain your Vanuatu citizenship. You are not required to visit or live in the country for any period of time. From a financial perspective, as we've noted before, Vanuatu does not impose taxes on personal income, capital gains, or wealth for its non-resident citizens. Therefore, you will not have any tax filing obligations to Vanuatu on your global income. Your tax obligations remain with the U.S., as we detailed in Chapter 6. As a full citizen, you are entitled to the rights and protections afforded by the nation. This includes the right to consular assistance from Vanuatu's diplomatic missions abroad. If you were to encounter trouble while traveling in a foreign country, for example, if you lost your passport or faced a legal or medical emergency, you could seek assistance from a Vanuatu embassy or consulate. This is a fundamental aspect of citizenship and a key part of the security it provides. Finally, as a citizen, you generally have the right to vote in Vanuatu's elections and the right to own land, which is typically reserved for citizens. However, for a non-resident who is not deeply engaged in the country's daily life, these rights are often secondary to the primary benefits of global mobility and personal security. Your responsibilities as a citizen are straightforward: to obey the laws of Vanuatu when you are there, and to represent your new country honorably when traveling on its passport. In our next chapter, we will begin to conclude our series by discussing how to choose a reputable and authorized agent, a critical step that can determine the success and smoothness of your entire application journey. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. Throughout this educational series, we've explored the what, why, and how of the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. We've also mentioned a key player in this process multiple times: the authorized agent. A successful application journey is almost impossible without a competent and trustworthy guide. In this chapter, we will focus exclusively on how to select a reputable authorized agent. This information is for guidance and educational purposes only. It is not an endorsement or recommendation of any specific firm. The responsibility for vetting and choosing an agent lies solely with the applicant. Our goal is to provide you with a framework of questions to ask and qualities to look for during your selection process. First, let's clarify what an authorized agent is. The Vanuatu government does not accept applications directly from the public. Instead, it has accredited a specific list of companies to act as intermediaries. These are the authorized agents. Only these licensed firms can legally submit a citizenship application on your behalf. This system ensures that all applications are prepared to the correct standard, and that a preliminary layer of vetting is done before the file even reaches the government. Your first and most critical step is to verify that any agent you consider is on the official government list. The Vanuatu Citizenship Office and Commission website is the definitive source for this information. Do not rely on a company's own claims. Go to the official government source and check their list of licensed agents. If a company is not on that list, you should not engage with them, period. Once you have a list of officially licensed agents, how do you choose among them? Let's look at several key criteria. The first is experience and track record. How long has the firm been in the investment migration industry? How long have they been an authorized agent for Vanuatu specifically? A firm with years of experience will have navigated numerous applications and will have a deep understanding of the process, potential pitfalls, and how to assemble a high-quality application file. While past success does not guarantee a future outcome, a long and positive track record is a strong indicator of competence. The second criterion is transparency, especially regarding fees. A reputable agent will provide you with a detailed, itemized quotation up front that clearly outlines all costs. This should include the government contribution, due diligence fees, government administrative fees, and their own professional service fees. Be wary of any agent who is vague about costs or quotes a single price without a breakdown. You should also be highly suspicious of any agent offering a special discount on the government contribution amount. The minimum contribution is set by law and is not negotiable. Any agent claiming otherwise is a major red flag. Next, consider their communication and responsiveness. During your initial consultations, are they professional? Do they answer your questions clearly and patiently? Do you feel like you are getting personalized attention? Or are you just another number? This is a long and intimate process. You will be sharing a significant amount of personal and financial information. You need to feel comfortable with your agent and trust their discretion and professionalism. A good agent will set realistic expectations and will not make outlandish promises of guaranteed success or unrealistic timelines. It is also wise to assess their expertise, particularly as it relates to U.S. applicants. Do they have experience working with American clients? Do they understand the unique considerations, such as the worldwide tax obligations and FBR reporting requirements we've discussed? While they are not your tax advisors, an experienced agent will be aware of these issues and will recommend that you seek specialized U.S. tax and legal counsel. Their familiarity with the specific challenges faced by U.S. citizens is a valuable asset. Another good practice is to look for an established physical presence. While many interactions will be digital, a reputable firm will have verifiable office locations, not just a fancy website and a mobile phone number. Do some basic research on the company's principals and their professional backgrounds. Finally, trust your intuition. After speaking with a few different firms, you will get a sense of who is professional, knowledgeable, and transparent, and who might be more focused on a quick sale. This decision is too important to rush. Take your time, do your research, and ask probing questions. Your authorized agent is your most important partner in this journey. Choosing the right one is the single most important decision you will make after deciding to apply in the first place. In our next chapter, we will look at some of the common questions and misconceptions about the Vanuatu CBI program, providing clear and straightforward answers to conclude our informational series. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back. As we approach the end of our educational series, we want to take this chapter to address some of the most frequently asked questions and clarify common misconceptions about the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. Over the years, a lot of information, some accurate, some outdated, and some simply incorrect, has circulated online. Our goal here is to provide clear, fact-based answers to help you form a precise understanding. As always, this information is for educational purposes. The details of the program are subject to change, and this chapter reflects the landscape as of late 2025. Please verify all information with an authorized agent for the most current data. Question 1. Do I have to live in or even visit Vanuatu to become a citizen? This is perhaps the most common question, and the answer is a simple no. The Vanuatu CBI program has no residency requirement, either before or after citizenship is granted. The entire process, from application to the oath of allegiance, can be completed remotely from your home country. This is a major distinction from many residency by investment programs, or golden visas, which require significant physical presence to maintain status or qualify for citizenship. Misconception 1. Getting a Vanuatu passport will solve my U.S. tax problems. This is a critical and dangerous misconception. As we've stressed throughout this series, your U.S. tax obligations are based on your U.S. citizenship, not your place of residence. Acquiring a second citizenship from Vanuatu does not change your requirement to file U.S. taxes on your worldwide income each year. In fact, it adds financial complexity, requiring you to adhere to foreign asset reporting rules like FBAR and FATCA. The tax benefits of Vanuatu citizenship relate to Vanuatu's tax laws, namely, that Vanuatu itself will not tax your global income. It has no impact on your obligations to the IRS. Question 2. Can I use cryptocurrency to pay for the investment? While there was some buzz about this in the past, the answer is no, not directly. The Vanuatu government requires that the contribution be made in US dollars through official banking channels. You cannot transfer Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency directly to the government. However, an applicant can legally liquidate their cryptocurrency holdings into US dollars and then use those funds for the investment, provided they can show a clear, auditable trail for the source of those funds as part of the due diligence process. Misconception 2. A Vanuatu passport provides visa-free travel to the UK and Europe. This is a piece of outdated information. While Vanuatu passport holders did once enjoy visa-free access to the UK and the EU's Schengen area, these privileges were suspended. As of today, a visa is required for travel to these specific regions. The passport still provides excellent visa-free access to over 95 other countries, including key hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong, but it is crucial for applicants to base their decisions on the current, not past, travel benefits. Question 3. Can my citizenship be revoked? Vanuatu citizenship granted through investment is for life and cannot be arbitrarily revoked. However, like any citizenship, it can be rescinded under specific and severe circumstances. If it is later discovered that an applicant provided false information on their application, concealed a material fact, or was found to have a criminal record they did not disclose, their citizenship could be subject to revocation. Additionally, committing a serious crime in Vanuatu or an act of treason against the state could also be grounds for deprivation of citizenship. For an applicant who is honest and transparent throughout the process, this is not a practical concern. Misconception 3. The program is secretive and lacks transparency. While applicants rightly value their personal privacy, the program itself is based on official laws and regulations passed by the Vanuatu Parliament. The names of new citizens obtained through the program are published in the country's official gazette. Furthermore, the rigorous due diligence process involves sharing information with international law enforcement and financial intelligence agencies. While your personal details are handled with professional discretion, the program operates within a public and legal framework, not in the shadows. Question 4. Is the investment a real estate purchase? The primary and most common route to Vanuatu citizenship is a non-refundable contribution to the government's development fund. This is not a real estate investment. While some CBI programs in other countries like Turkey are centered on property purchase, Vanuatu's main program is a direct donation. There have been discussions and smaller-scale property-linked options in Vanuatu, but the streamlined flagship program is based on the one-time contribution. We hope that addressing these points directly has helped to clarify the realities of the program. Having a clear and accurate understanding is the best foundation upon which to explore this opportunity further. In our final chapter, we will summarize the key takeaways from our entire series and offer some concluding thoughts for U.S. citizens considering this life-changing step. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back for the final chapter of our educational series on the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program. Over the last 14 chapters, we have journeyed through every facet of this topic, from the history of investment migration to the practicalities of passport renewal. Our goal has been to provide a comprehensive, balanced, and responsible overview for United States citizens who are exploring the world of dual citizenship. In this concluding chapter, we will summarize the most critical takeaways and offer some final thoughts for your path forward. First and foremost, let us revisit the fundamental disclaimer that has guided our entire series. This audio guide has been for informational and educational purposes only. It is not and was never intended to be financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. The decision to pursue a second citizenship is a profound one with significant personal and financial implications. This journey must not be undertaken without professional, one-on-one counsel from qualified U.S. legal and tax advisors, as well as a government-authorized CBI agent. So what are the key takeaways from our deep dive into the Vanuatu program? The first is opportunity. For a U.S. citizen, a second passport from Vanuatu represents an opportunity to enhance global mobility, providing an alternative travel document for a diverse set of countries. It offers a strategic diversification of your personal affairs, creating a plan B, and a legal connection to a peaceful, tax-neutral nation. It is a tool for those with a global mindset who are looking to build a more resilient and internationally flexible life for themselves and their families. The second key takeaway is simplicity and speed. Among a competitive field of global CBI programs, Vanuatu's distinct advantages are its efficiency and straightforwardness. With a process that can be completed in just a few months, entirely remotely, and is based on a simple non-refundable contribution, it is the most direct path to a second citizenship currently available on the market. The third takeaway is responsibility. This is especially crucial for U.S. citizens. Acquiring a Vanuatu passport does not diminish your obligations to the United States. You remain a U.S. citizen, and with that comes the lifelong duty to file U.S. taxes on your worldwide income and comply with all foreign asset reporting regulations, such as FBR and FATCA. Dual citizenship adds a layer of complexity to your administrative life that must be managed diligently. The fourth takeaway is the importance of due diligence, both for you and by you. The program's credibility rests on a multi-layered vetting process that ensures only reputable individuals are granted citizenship. For you as an applicant, this means you must be prepared for a thorough review of your background and finances. At the same time, you must perform your own due diligence, most importantly in selecting a government-authorized agent who is experienced, transparent, and trustworthy to guide you through this complex process. Finally, the fifth key takeaway is perspective. It is vital to maintain a balanced and realistic view. A Vanuatu passport is a powerful tool, but it is not a magic wand. Its benefits, particularly visa-free travel, are subject to the shifting sands of international diplomacy. The investment is a non-refundable contribution, not a profit-generating asset. You are exchanging a significant sum for the rights and privileges of citizenship. A return measured in freedom and security, not in dollars. As you move forward from this series, your next steps, should you choose to take them, are clear. Begin with personal reflection. What are your true motivations and goals? Is it enhanced travel, a sense of security, or business diversification? Your why will determine which program, if any, is the right fit. If your interest remains, the next step is consultation. Speak with U.S. tax and legal professionals to understand the full implications for your specific situation. Then, and only then, should you begin the process of researching and speaking with several different authorized agents. The world of global citizenship is evolving rapidly. Countries are recognizing the value of attracting international talent and investment, and individuals are increasingly seeing themselves as citizens of the world, not just of one nation. Programs like Vanuatu's are a direct reflection of this modern reality. We hope this audio series has empowered you with the knowledge needed to explore this topic confidently and responsibly. We aim to cut through the marketing hype and provide a sober, educational foundation. The path to becoming a global citizen is a significant one, and it begins not with an application, but with education. We thank you for joining us on this journey.
Disclaimer. The information presented is for informational purposes only and is not professional financial, investment, or tax advice. All investments involve risk and may result in partial or total loss. You should always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. By viewing this video, you agree not to hold the creator liable for any loss or damage arising from your use of the information provided.